some people want to associate with. We move along with time in our various programs to make you aware and appreciate your environment. Digital news of people, places and events, variety of children's programs, entertainment such as drama and musicals, various religious programs, promotion of indigenous cultural values and sport galore. Name it, NTA 5 Abuekiti is the station for you. Come today, patronize us. NTA Abuekiti, your choice station.
Edition of Platform on your choice station, NTA Channel 5 Abuekiti. I am Tayo Osho. Agricultural extension services are vital ways of providing first-hand trainings and demonstrations to farmers to make farming easy and boost their yields. On today's edition of Platform, we will be discussing the importance of extension services and how it has impacted agriculture in the state. My guest on today's program is the Senior Special Assistant to the State Governor on Agricultural Extension Services, Dr. Sikiru Oluwoye. Many thanks for being on the program.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Well, tell me about agricultural extension services. What are the things it entails and how does it affect farming and agriculture generally?
Yeah, once again, thank you very much. When we talk about agricultural extension service, it's one of the major components of agriculture, and it has to do with bridging the gap between the technologies and the farmers. When we talk about agriculture, we talk about farmers. Farmers are the engineers, they are the people that actually practice agriculture. And there are a lot of innovations in the field of agriculture that need to be disseminated to the farmers. And it is the work of the extension agents to convey all these technological informations to the farmers in a language they will understand. And that is the essence of agricultural extension. There's this thing that there's no way we continue to do same thing, same way, and expect different results. In those days, our forefathers, we started with what we call a Paleolithic stage, whereby they just do hunting and gathering and fruits and some other things. But we have moved from that stage to another stage called the Neolithic stage, whereby some technology has been introduced into the field of agriculture. And as a result of that, the technology has to do with giving back to the farmers, in terms of what the people in the research institute have done, and they'll be the one to bring out these technological informations. The session again will now convey these technological information to the farmers. So this is the essence of agricultural extension services. Thank you very much.
All right, speaking about agricultural extension and services, how are the extension workers recruited, and what are the mode of operations? How do they operate?
Thank you very much. We have one of our components at the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in Ekiti State, and with that component is known as Agricultural Development Program, ADP. They are the one that are actually, saddled with the responsibility of extension services in the state. And as such, we have our extension agents working directly under the ADP to serve our farmers. And the way we are usually employed, they are experts. Within them, we have what we call SMS, subject matter specialists, who are specialized in various fields of agriculture. We have animal husbandry, livestock keepers, we have horticulturists, we have a lot of them, soil methodologies and the likes. And all these people are the SMAs, are the subject matter specialists that will train the extension agent. And it is this extension agent that will now move to the farmers, to explain, to disseminate information to the farmers in the language they understand. So we have a lot of extension agents. In fact, recently the state government just recruited some extension agents into the system back in order to carry out this infant to first stream, what we usually call a monthly technical review meeting. In this meeting, the SMS will now carry this information, then train the extension agent in what we call fortnight trainings. When they train, they will now be the one to carry out this information to the farmers on the farm. They are using their demonstration farm.
Thank you.
We can say that the present situation of extension service in the state is actually going up, waxing stronger. Though we cannot compare to the time when we usually have the support of the World Bank, when ADP is being sponsored or financed by the World Bank. But ever since the World Bank has withdrawn their support for ADP, many states have been trying to ensure that the ADP get their footing. But in Ekiti State, our government pay much attention to strengthening the state, because when the government moved around the farm settlement, I realized some gaps, among the farmers. And immediately call on my commissioner that please, something has to be done on extension. And immediately the commissioner set up a committee, which happened to be one of the committee members. And we started looking into the present situation of extension services in the state, and we've realized that that is need. In fact, the result is part of what I mentioned the other time, that we just recruited some extension agents into the system. We realized that that is a big gap. We're supposed to have at least one extension agent to at least 40 farmers, but we're having at least one extension agent to 200, 300 farmers. So we are now bridging the gap. The government mandated that we should bridge all this gap, and we're having our offices are not actually good, but we are building the structures that will ensure that our training facilities are there, and our SMS are still trying to train the section agent in order to give information to the farmer. But in terms of infrastructure, we are still using the old one we are using. But I can see that we are getting there. We are improving in terms of our extension services in the state.
So what are the major challenges that extension workers, officers face in disability?
Thank you very much. Here in Ekiti State, fountain of knowledge. On an average farmer in Ekiti State, we have one form of education or the other. Either primary school, certificate, or secondary school. One way or the other, our farmers are, averagely okay in terms of, accepting innovations. In extension, what we call the early adopters, late adopters, and the laggers. The early adopters are the ones that are really looking for information, looking for technology. Is there anything about, this setting I was on the farm, rice farm in Aisega, the farmer mentioned that, we are training some farmers on the use of power tillers. These power tillers, in some years back, farmers don't really know what is power tiller. But now we are now introducing to them that this is a mini tractor that you can actually use to till your land. Not every other time you depend on tractors. A farmer now mentioned that the major challenge they are facing on the issue of rice production is the issue of these birds, disturbing their rice. And I said, okay, it's part of what we are saying. We are now making efforts. We are partnering with some Indian company in order to design or develop a technology that will be able to, scare away the birds on the farms. It's part of where we are making effort. Meaning that those farmers are already looking for a kind of technology that can help them solve their problem. So, and we still have some farmers that will not even say, we want to listen, they want to, this is how our fathers are doing it, and this is where we continue to do, we call them laggards. But we don't normally have such much those people in the Ekiti State. Most of our farmers in the Ekiti State, they are literate to some level, and they are ready to adopt technological information anytime our exception against bring it to their doorsteps. And I can tell you for the fact that in the Ekiti State, our farmers are always cooperating with the ADP. There's a program we usually run on here, at the Loba, Lyri. I see appeared on that Lyri recently, telling our farmers some of the benefits they can actually derive from the state government at the moment. So these are part of what we have in the Ekiti State. Our farmers are actually keying into all this technology information that we are bringing in.
Alright, so let's talk about modern technologies. Like you said, that farmers are keen into these improvements that are coming their ways. So let's talk about modern technologies. How well are these extension workers aware about the modern technology? Because if you look at agriculture keeps advancing every day, and there are easier ways every day coming up on how people can do things to increase yield, to reduce the stress of agriculture. So how aware are these extension workers about these modern technologies, and how accessible are these technologies even to farmers in the state?
Yeah, thank you very much. The other time I mentioned that it is not the work of the extension agents to develop technology, but it's work of the research institutes like IITA, IIRT, NIFO, and the likes to develop all this technology. For instance, now in the Ekiti State, now we brought in one variety of jam from IITA. Recently, we call it Ishibao. It's a new variety of jam. When we produce this yam initially, some farmers are saying, this is water yam. Ekiti don't get water yam. There's nothing what to use. But we know that it's an improved variety of yam. Taking the genes of white yam and that of water yam, do it together, now brought out a quality of water yam and white yam. In Ekiti, we don't use water yam to pound yam, to pounded yam. But this particular yam that I'm referring to, we can use it to do pounded yam. It's part of it. But when it goes like water yam. It's part of the effort that IITA and Papa Ekiti State to do. So it is the duty of this institution to come out with this technology. When they come out with this technology, they will invite our exception agents to bring it here. Some years back, let's say 15, 20 years ago, we didn't believe that watermelon can grow in the Ekiti State. So people bought it and they adapt it, and they realized that we can grow it, we can grow this way. And immediately that offer is done, the extension agent will now have confidence to tell the farmer that yes, this is a new technology, we have practicalized it, we have adapted it to Ekiti State, then take it, go and practicalize it on your farm. And as such, our farmers will embrace it and they will continue to enjoy that technology.
Yeah. Let's now talk about people that are not majority farmers. There has been this clarion call for everybody to go into farming, no matter how small you think you can afford it. There's just people that don't have the knowledge about farming at all, and they just wish to let me just grow something, maybe just 2 plots of land, and they don't have the knowledge. So how accessible is agricultural extension services to this category of people? They are not on the farm, maybe just within their communities, their compound.
Yes, it's part of the effort we have been making to ensure food security. We believe that there is this saying that share beneficial in the war, and we believe that it's the responsibility of every individual to plant 1 or 2 things, even within their compound. And there was a time we introduced the sack yam farming, that you can actually do within your compound. And we also mentioned area of horticulture, planting pepper, tomatoes, and the likes within your compound is part of what we are doing. But when we don't have the technical know-how of dating, then there is tendency we make mistake, and that is why we are saying that our extension agents are there, our offices are there. That if you don't know anything, we have a platform, we call it Agro Connects, whereby you can subscribe, you can ask people to subscribe anything you have that, okay, I want to plan this, or how do I go about it? Immediately on that 5 minutes you see people responding to you, giving you information on how to go. Or maybe for instance you plant something within your compound and it's encountering some kind of diseases, or your pest infestation on that farm. If you don't snap it, put it on that platform, people will know that this is what you're going to use, this is how you're going to use it. It's part of the effort to make in order to bridge that gap. For those who are not technically inclined, or those who doesn't have the technical know-how about farming, where they can get information, we are using it and we are expanding it. This platform that I just mentioned, that we are going beyond more than 700 participants, and it includes those people who are not really farmers but who have a passion for farming or cropping. Then they can get information whenever they ask for it.
All right, still talking about people who are, should we say, laymen in farming, and they want to also farm. How do they get access to seedlings and improved seedlings? We talk about one improved yam seedling, but for an average man on the street, we don't know about that. And how do they get access to improved seedlings?
Yeah, thank you very much. We must give our kudos to the President Administration of the state, because he has shown a lot of love towards the farmers and a kind of passion towards agriculture. And we are achieving food security in Ekiti State. And I must say that one of the major challenges that farmers do face is shortage of land. Our government has made that a kind of easy access, having more land period for farmers to participate or to have what we call a commercial farming in a large scale. That's another thing. Now, we also introduced what we call subsidized tractorization, whereby we pay half of the actual cost of tractorization. Plowing land, harrowing, government has been able to reduce that drastically, and people are now enjoying that. Aside from that, the inputs you are talking about, they are available within our system. If you go to Fadama today, you have access to chemicals, you have access to agrochemicals, pesticides, insecticide of various kind that you can use on the farm. Then seeds are also available. You do seed from reliable sources. You can easily get them within our farm. You also go to farmer, Conservation Marketing Agency, at Okerele, you will get them. Then if you go to ADP, we will actually help you to get them. So all these things we are saying, they are readily available within all the government systems, within the Ministry of Agriculture. You can easily get all those informations. Then you can easily buy them at reduced price, 50% reduced subsidized prices. So all these things are available within Ekiti State for people to farm, for people to practice agriculture. Thank you very much.
I will only talk about some farmers who are not, you said that there are few members in Ekiti State who are not embracing new technology and all that. So for those who are not embracing new technology, what has been the selling point of these new technologies to them that you can think of, that we can sell using these achievements to sell?
What we normally do is to create a kind of pilot farm, experimental farm beside their own farms. When the people doesn't believe in one technology, what we do is that, okay, let us do our own farm. Like for instance now, farmers is coming to Ekiti State, to partner with our farmers, our Farmers Association of Nigeria, to grow what we call soybeans. Soybeans are growing in Ekiti State, but not as expected. They are not growing in large scale. They are not coming. Okay, let us see how, because some people believe that soybean cannot be cultivated in some part of the Ekiti State. But we are saying it is matter of experimented. Know the soil condition, know the soil requirement that can make it grow very well. And they are coming now. And what do you tell me to do with they're going to have a kind of experimental farm, a pilot one that they are going to, be the one in charge of it directly, and they will introduce you to the farmers. We are going to do your home. This is our home. We don't compare research. But at the time they grow their home in their own little farms, then the families now grow their own in their own pilots, and they need to compare results. See the way we do our own, then see the way we compare results. So this is one of the way we normally introduce any innovations to the farmer by experimenting, showing to them that this is how to do it. Then they see results. When it gives them results, then they embrace it immediately. But when they didn't get results, they will say, no, they will reject it. But when they will see results, they will surely embrace it. Thank you very much.
So what support is available to farmers on climate-related issues? Because one of the challenges in agriculture now is the climate change. Sometimes they just seize and it affects crops on the farm. So what support is available to farmers when it comes to climate-related issues?
Yes, thank you very much. Climate change is one of the headache of our farmers now. And I think one of the victims 2 years ago, I lost over 3 million naira on farm due to climate change. At the time we are expecting rainfall, we even follow the predictions of the NIMET that rain will fall, and we planted. And unfortunately, rain didn't come throughout that month, and it actually affected the farm. So we are saying that climate change, there are a lot of ways that we can actually create resilience against climate change or to mitigate. There's nothing we can just try like that, but we can only mitigate. Okay, what can we do? Like for instance, now we are telling our farmers that using irrigation, irrigation, that's what can guarantee you of steady water all year round. And that's also farmers will be looking for where they can get river, to get land where they can have access to bigger river. But beyond that, you can dig well within your farm. If you're having 2-3 acres of land, you can have at least 2 or 3 flowers at a point in time. So these are part of the effort we are telling our farmers. And we are also telling our farmers that they should see agriculture as business. They should not see it as something that they will always be depending on the government. Even the government said it. I'm a farmer. I'm getting a lot from my farms every day. Do it as business. When you see something as a business, then you don't really wait for another person to come and do this for you, come and give you. There are a lot of